Lucas follows Carly back to her office, questioning why she walks away from him in the midst of a fight. Carly didn't want to make a public scene because she owns this hotel. Preview for the week of July 28th to August 1st, 2025. A murderer on a rampage, a madwoman on a mission, and a hopeless romantic on a quest. Lucas acknowledges he went too far by bringing up Morgan, but he was attempting to convey the point that her dedication to Sunny has only brought her sorrow. Carly claims he's the father of her children. Furthermore, Sidwell nearly murdered Christina in the fire, and he set a target for his own son. Lucas admits that what Sidwell did was terrible, but so was what Sunny did, and he refuses to explain his conduct. Lucas claims that for years, he followed her lead and protected Sunny, even if the blood on his hands was his own father's. Carly reminds him that Julian attacked Sunny first, but Lucas claims they only have Sunny's version of events. Carly informs out that Sunny could have killed Marco, but he chose not to do so for them. Lucas says she's insane for thinking he should be grateful that Sunny didn't kill Marco, and the fact she can't see that is proof she's been living in Sunny's world for far too long. He storms out. Sunny makes Marco a promise in Marco's room. Sunny informs him that his problem is not with him, and he swears he will not be touched as long as he remains out of his father's affairs. Marco claims that is impossible because he is his lawyer. Sunny claims he should only represent legitimate business interests, and that returning to Miami would be preferable. Marco refuses to return to Miami, so Sunny claims he is putting himself in danger. Sunny says they'll have to figure out how to live together peacefully. Sunny claims that everyone blames him for his mother's death, and asks Marco whether he is one of them. Marco admits he initially blamed Sunny, but now that the shock has worn off, he realizes the case was much more complex. He knows his mother was under strain, and she reacted with it the way she always did, by drinking. He believes she mixed pills and alcohol but did not intend to kill herself. Sunny accepts since Natalia was a powerful lady, and he owed her a lot. One of the last things she told him was that she loved Marco and regretted that they were estranged. Marco feels the same way, and they'll never be able to change it. Lucas arrives and is not pleased to see Sunny there. Sunny goes to leave, saying he doesn't want to get into trouble with Lucas. Lucas warns him that if he touches Marco again, he will contact the police. Sunny leaves and Lucas believes Sunny came here to frighten Marco, and he needs to call the detectives and include this in his statement. Marco admits that he didn't tell the cops anything about what Sunny did. Marco explains that it is worthwhile for him to remain silent in order to keep them out of Sunny and his father's problems. Lucas replies it's his call, and Marco thanks him. Marco says he needs to rest, but Lucas says he has something to do anyway. Carly's being driven crazy. Sunny visits Carly's office and informs her that her brother has lost it over Marco. Carly claims she recently had a disagreement with him as well. She believes Lucas will calm down now that Marco is okay. Carly claims Lucas is unhappy because of her allegiance to him, and that both he and Lucas are driving her insane. Sunny does not want to come between them. Carly understands this, but her brother now sees everything in black and white. Sunny observes that Lucas has it bad for Marco. Perhaps he should just stay away from her. But she insists that Lucas recognize he is a part of her life. What makes Christina so concerned? Christina runs into Cody at the pool and wonders if he came to see Ava. He says that Ava is attending Drew and Willow's wedding, which Christina believes indicates she is with Rick. Cody doubts it, considering they had a large fight at the art show. Cody believes he can quickly entice her away from the lawyer. When Michael appears, Christina goes to speak with him. She receives his text and inquires, "What's up?" He informs her that Drew and Willow's wedding is today. They grab a table and Christina feels sorry for Willow. Once she gets out of this delusion, she'll realize what a wonderful man she lost in her brother. Cody chooses a chair next to Molly, who is reading a book and dressed from head to toe to avoid the sun. He jokes that she appears to be suffocating. She believes you can never be too cautious when it comes to the sun. He mentions heat stroke, and she removes her linen top, displaying a bikini. He expected an old-fashioned bathing suit, and Molly jokes that she managed to surprise him. Molly surprises Cody. Molly applies 100 SPF sunscreen to herself, and recommends that Cody do the same to avoid skin cancer. He accepts her offer because skin cancer is all he can think about right now. He asks her to get his back, so she puts sunscreen on him. From across the pool, Christina notices Molly putting sunscreen on Cody. Michael notices that something appears to be going on, which is just what Christina is concerned about. She requests that Michael have a conversation with Cody and remove him from Molly, so that she can speak with her sister privately. Michael approaches Cody and Molly, asking if he can speak with Cody for a second. He drags Cody away, and Christina enters to join Molly, asking what she is doing with Cody. She assumed her sister wasn't interested in Cody. Molly answers no, so Christina asks, "Does Cody know that?" She implies that Molly is giving Cody a different impression with her sunscreen business. Christina claims Cody has a reputation and mentions that he has a tendency of attracting wealthy, attractive women, and that he may be seeking for a payout from her. Molly claims she is a civil servant, and Cody has never requested anything from her. Christina believes it is best if they remain friends, as there is nothing worse than becoming close to someone with an agenda. Christina thinks Cody asking her to put sunscreen on his back is a shady move, but Molly admits she was lecturing him on skin cancer. Christina says she doesn't want to see her hurt. Lucy invites Sidwell to a wedding. Lucy visits Windermere to check on Sidwell. She claims she's officiating Drew and Willow's wedding, and was hoping he'd join her as he was also invited. Sidwell appreciated the offer, but declined the congressman's invitation. He also admits that he and Sonny have had some rough moments. Lucy notices that Sonny is not attending the wedding, but Sidwell explains he has decided to withdraw from politics, Measure C, and his relationship with Drew. He's doing this for his son, and he doesn't want him involved in his conflict with Sonny. Lucy notices the clock and thinks she has to leave. She asks him one final time to join her, but he decides against it in the interest of harmonious coexistence. Will there be a wedding? When Kai and Drew arrive at the church, Liz informs Drew that everything is on time according to Maxie's schedule. Drew says everything looks great. Alexis comes scout in and tells her father that Willow looks like a princess in her clothing. Drew claims this makes him the prince, and they're all going to live happily ever after. Albrecht approaches Drew, who is relieved she could come. Albrecht disapproves of stealing Willow from his nephew, and his hero image is ruined. Liz swiftly grabs her and drags her away for disturbing Drew. Albrecht claims the words rushed from her tongue before she could stop them. Liz is aware that she does not approve, but she believes that nothing will prevent the wedding from taking place. Rick arrives and compliments Liz on her attractive appearance. Liz didn't expect to see him here. He claims he was invited, but he believes Willow and Drew probably merely wanted people to fill the pews because they aren't the most popular marriage. Rick hopes to share a dance during the reception, but insists it will be solely as friends. Ava notices Rick flirting with Liz, and Albrecht comments that she looks like she just drank sour milk. Ava replies that guys are idiots, and Albrecht responds that there is an open bar at the reception. Ava quips that it helps. Rick notices Ava lighting a candle and realizes he hasn't seen her since their argument at the gallery. She asks, "You mean the night you were fawning over Elizabeth like a lovesick schoolboy?" She says based on what she just observed, and the fawning begins. He claims to have just run into Liz. Ava claims the Lord may punish him for lying in his house. Ava then takes Alexis aside for a word, and in the foyer, she begs to meet with him alone at the lawyer's office next week. Willow blames Nina visits the bridal room to see Willow. Willow asks angrily whether she and Drew had an affair. Did she sleep with her fiancé? Nina laments that she did. Willow cannot believe her mother would do this to her. Nina admits that when they initially met, she had no idea they were drawn to each other. She says it started in April and lasted until August. Willow discovers that while she was falling in love with Drew, he was sleeping with her mother. Willow wonders how she could betray her like this. Nina says she should have informed her, but she was terrified. Their relationship was strained back then, and all she desired was to be a mother. If she'd told her, she would have ended their relationship. Willow labels her a coward and questions why she continued to sleep with Drew. Was she in love with him? Nina swears she loathed him and still does. She believed herself that if she could entice Drew away from Willow, she would be able to save the marriage. Willow laughs at the notion that Nina felt she was doing her a favor. Nina claims she made a mistake. When she realized how important Drew was to her, she halted it. However, it was far too late to tell her. Willow claims that instead of letting her grow further in love with Drew, She watched her abandon her spouse and children for a man who was lying to her. Nina informs her that she pushed her to stay away from Drew and focus on her marriage. She repeatedly cautioned her not to move in with Drew and that her relationship was unhealthy. Willow snaps, "All things considered, you undersold it." Nina begs her to admit that it had gotten to the point where if she said anything negative about Drew, she would leap all over her. She tried everything to get away from Drew. Willow says everything but one, and if she had told her the truth, she would have left him in an instant. She'd still have her kids. Nina cries, saying she was frightened of losing her child if she told her the truth. Willow calls her selfish and questions what kind of mother she is. Nina swears she will do everything she can to make things right. Willow asks how. She did not simply lie to her. She betrayed her trust. She assisted Drew in losing custody of her children by concealing the truth about her. Willow claims she will never forgive her for that. Nina understands that she made a mistake, and she has every right to be angry with herself. She begs her not to shut her out because she loves her. Willow claims she went against her instincts by allowing her back into her life, and she felt they had progressed so far. Nina claims they have, and the past year has been everything to her. Willow cries that their relationship was based on lies. She could have avoided all of the anguish of the previous months if Nina had told her the truth. Nina vows she came here to tell her the truth, but Willow argues it's too late and the damage has already been done due to her silence. She's already lost everything. Willow has burned every bridge and sacrificed everything for a man who has consistently lied to her throughout their relationship, and he is all she has left. Nina reminds her that she still has her. Willow adds, "I'm sorry, Nina. I needed you to be my mother when I needed one, but you couldn't. You weren't cut out to be a mother, possibly because your own mother was a nightmare, and you lack a maternal bone in your body." She claims she envies Nellie, who died without knowing Nina was her mother, and wishes she were as fortunate. Willow orders Nina to go, slamming the door in her face. Willow's face becomes expressionless when she looks in the mirror. She reflects on her bond with Drew, and his pledge that he will not allow her lose her children. She recalls Martin's argument that marrying Drew would impress the judge. Willow recalls choosing to marry Drew because nothing is more important to her than her children. As Lucy arrives, everyone begins to settle into their places in the chapel. Nina rushes up to Albrecht in tears, telling her that she needs to leave and asking her to accompany her. Albrecht says the wedding is about to begin, but Nina says there will be no wedding. Liz reports that the bride is ready, and Albrecht claims Nina is mistaken. At the pool, Christina expresses gratitude to Michael for his assistance. He questions why she is attempting to separate Molly and Cody. Cody sends beverages over to Molly as a thank you for applying sunscreen on his back. He quips that they might have missed a place and asks if she would mind finishing it so he doesn't have an uneven tan. Molly appears suspicious. Marco visits Windermere to see his father. Sidwell regrets being lured into his conflict with Sunny, since he knew he wanted to keep out of it. Marco replies, "Not anymore, I'm all in now. Whatever it takes, Sunny has to leave." They embrace. In her office, Sunny tells Carly that he does not want to cause difficulties for her or Lucas. She believes the dust will settle quickly. Lucas comes, offers his key to his sister, and announces that he is moving out. Back at the church, the wedding march starts, and Scout walks down the aisle as the flower girl. Nina knows she shouldn't be here, but Albrecht insists that everything has already begun, and she is the bride's mother. Drew tells his daughter she's perfect and gives her a hug and kiss. Scout sits with Alexis, and everyone stands to support the bride. They stare at the doors which open and Willow walks in, dressed in her bridal gown and appearing like a zombie. General Hospital spoilers for Monday, July 28th, indicate that Willow Tate will make a marriage decision, while Jason Morgan considers a grave digger scheme. Jocelyn Jacks will also receive fresh orders, so here's what fans should expect next. First, Jocelyn will see Jack Brennan in his office and inquire about the matter. Brennan will propose that depends on Jocelyn and will finally give her instructions, so we'll see how this relates to her WSB objective. Of course, Brennan might want to clarify the situation with Carly Spencer and reiterate that his private life is none of Jocelyn's business, even if it involves her mother. Molly Lansing Davis' dramatic attitude adjustment will almost certainly give Cody Bell whiplash at the Metro Court pool. Molly will suddenly strike out at Cody, insisting that he isn't concerned about sun exposure, and that he simply wants her hands on him. Molly was fine with administering sunscreen on Cody before, so he'll wonder what changed. The truth is that Christina Corinthos Davis has gotten inside Molly's head, and is working to sabotage any romance she may have with Cody. Christina will tell Michael Corinthos something crucial. What could be worse than the people you attempted to kill? Michael questions Christina in Monday's GH teaser video. Christina appears to be open about her role in Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin's crash, but she may also vent about Rick and Ava Jerome's extortion in the aftermath. Carly will appear shocked when she asks Jason a stunning question. "You're not planning on digging her up, are you?" Carly wonders in Monday's preview segment. Carly is supposedly concerned that Jason may dig up Britt Westbourne's grave to see if her corpse is still there. Jason may seriously consider it, but he'll need to meet with Liesl Obrecht and ask her some questions first. Obrecht is currently at Willow and Drew Kane's wedding, when Willow entered the sanctuary despite discovering that Drew had slept with Nina Reeves. Willow appears to be split about what to do now that she knows Drew lied to her all along, and is not the man she thought he was. At the same time, Drew is all Willow has left now that she's destroyed her life and torched all bridges. In Monday's teaser video, Lucy Coe invites those assembled to speak up or remain silent indefinitely. Nina would not dare to say anything that would exacerbate the situation. Willow now has the ball in her court, so she must decide whether or not to marry Drew Kane. According to General Hospital spoilers, Willow will struggle with this difficult decision, so stay tuned for updates on any other wedding-related news to come. Willow found herself staring out the window, her hands resting on the edge of the kitchen sink, the morning light barely able to warm the coldness that had settled in her heart. For weeks she'd struggled with an unfathomable decision, one that could rewrite the future not only for her, but also for Wiley, Michael, and the life she'd gradually constructed after experiencing wave after wave of mental pain. The recollection of Michael's recent betrayal, even if inadvertent, continued to pulse beneath her skin like a bruise. And the quiet between them had simply grown more intense. But no one anticipated Willow to break the stillness with a move that sent shockwaves through Port Charles, involving another guy entirely. She had no idea what was going to happen until Jason reappeared. Willow thought her memories had been long buried when he returned. He was never someone she was particularly close to, but something about his quiet power and steadfastness drew her in. After Drew and Michael's developing conflict over ELQ, and Sunny's growing estrangement, Jason became a quiet constant in her sphere. He didn't press or pry. He was just listening. Willow began to hear her own voice back. A voice that had become lost in the maelstrom of marriages founded on responsibility, children, loss, and the ghosts of decisions made in the name of love. Willow's choice to leave Michael was motivated by more than just her feelings for Jason. In reality, she didn't know what it was. However, she was aware that remaining in a marriage that no longer felt based on mutual trust was poisoning everything around her. She had tried to forgive Michael for his lies, machinations, and instances when he chose power over truth. But the notion of him quietly conspiring behind her back with Drew or even Ned, seeing her as an accessory to his kingdom rather than a partner, shattered something. So when Jason unexpectedly told her that he was going away for a time, possibly on a risky job, she made the most rash decision of her life. She proposed that they married. The words had barely left her mouth before she regretted them. Jason's forehead wrinkled, and his quiet was lengthy enough to fill the room. He was not a man who took commitment lightly, which she admired. But when he eventually nodded, without theatrics, flowers, or rings, Willow felt strangely calm. Not joy, not elation, just an uncanny silence that allowed her to breathe again. What no one knew was that Jason was pursuing his own secret agenda. For weeks he'd been listening to rumors that a buried truth, quite literally, was festering beneath the soil of Port Charles. Something Drew had buried. Something from Sunny's history that should never have been revealed. Jason didn't want to draw Willow into it, but she could see through him. When she provided her trust, not just emotionally, but via a marriage-like tie, Jason knew he couldn't keep her out. He feared that the grave he was digging, both metaphorically and literally, would unravel not only Sunny's legacy, but also the fragile web of ties that held the Corinthos family together. At the heart of it all was a name Jason had long attempted to forget. Claudia Zachara. Long thought to be nothing more than a violent memory, Jason suspected someone had moved her remains years ago, and that the relocation was not authorized by the police. He suspected Drew was involved. Why else would Drew suddenly become so hesitant to discuss prior events? Why else would he be able to effortlessly redirect investigations, pull strings and manipulate Michael? Willow watched Jason return from the site one evening, his hands still covered with dirt. His eyes told her everything. He'd found something. Not bones, not yet. Just the telltale traces of a recent disturbance, something meant to be hidden. She sat across from him in their temporary safe house, the silence between them now filled with mutual understanding. She wasn't sure what scared her more. What Jason might discover, or how easily she was becoming accustomed to the shadows he lived in. Meanwhile, Michael spiraled. When he discovered of the marriage, he was shocked, then angry. At first he thought it was a gimmick, a transient revolt. But when Willow refused to return home and told him calmly and clearly that she was done, reality hit. He attempted to reason with her, guilt her and even charm her. But nothing worked. She was done allowing herself to be controlled. Michael accused Jason of exploiting her vulnerability. But deep down, Michael understood he was the one who opened the door for this. Drew, on the other hand, wasn't easily rattled. When Jason finally faced him, the two brothers engaged in a fierce confrontation reminiscent of their jail rivalry. Drew warned Jason to bury the past. But Jason was no longer interested in Drew's warnings. He was determined to find every missing piece of the puzzle, even if it meant digging up graves and revealing truths that could destroy everyone. Willow watched the man she married fall farther into danger, knowing she couldn't stop him. Instead of retreating as she had in the past, she stood by his side. Whatever Jason discovered next, she'd confront it beside him. She was no longer a naive nurse, not a sad widow clinging to routine. She had chosen this life, this danger, and this man along with all of his consequences. What began as an escape marriage evolved into something real and honest in its gloom. Willow realized that love may not always be about safety and comfort. Perhaps it was about truth. And in Jason, despite his flaws, she discovered a truth she could accept. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Port Charles Cemetery, the truth Jason discovered had yet to be revealed. But when it came to light, and it did, it would rock the entire Corinthian kingdom to its foundation. And Willow? She would no longer be a silent presence in the background. She was now part of the storm,